Finally, welcome to 2025. Reflecting back on the previous year, 2024, it was like literally heartbreaking for me. So what really happened? I'll try to explain it step by step. So stay with me and check it out. Yeah, so 2024 was a big year for professional triathletes, especially Ironman athletes. We got a lot of opportunities. For me personally, the biggest goal was always Ironman World Championship. We had a little debate if I should go for the Ironman Pro Series overall standing as well, or skip it, do some big goal, less important races just to build it up for Kona. And eventually we came up to the conclusion that I would give it a go and try to aim for Pro Series as well. But keeping in mind that Kona is the most important one and Pro Series is a little lower on the priority list. So the initial plan was to start in Ironman Texas, then go for 70.3 St. George a week later, mainly to qualify for Taupo 70.3 Worlds at the end of the season. Coming back from the USA, prepare for Ironman Frankfurt, then Kona, and finish the season with Taupo 70.3 Worlds. So that was the initial approach going into 2024. Yeah, analyzing the 2023 season, which was kind of successful, we found the two main areas for improvement for me. First one, the cycling performance, which is obviously really complex because you can analyze the physiology side of it, so the power outputs, and also the whole technology side, so the bike position, equipment, aerodynamics, and everything. So we felt that we got a lot of work to do in this department and continue working on it, which was even more important going into Kona than racing in Nice, because in Nice, of course, aerodynamics was important, but the power output and the light setup played a bigger role. And the second area for improvement, we felt that the nutrition strategy would be also really important for me. If I go back to the previous races, I have never had any issues with carbohydrate intake. I could tolerate 100 plus grams of carbohydrates per hour, but at the end of 2023, I experimented a little bit, and I found that other factors are important. For example, the sodium intake and the fluid intake, especially for hot climate races. So I wanted to keep on experimenting and eventually find an ideal nutrition strategy for Kona. So that was kind of like the two main points that I wanted to prepare. Actually, I did a lot of things. The first step was to obviously improve my body, my physiology. So I decided to move the whole winter preparation to the better climate conditions and log in a lot of good quality miles. So we spent almost the whole winter, so 4 months, training in Spain, which was really enjoyable, and I did a lot of good quality work. And also working on aerodynamics and my setup, I signed with Cool Cycle, and together with Alone in Drag, led by Piotr Klin, our engineer, we put in a lot of investment. We put a lot of effort to create what was in the end a unique setup and a very good setup for Kona. I was really happy with all the data, with the CDA, and as you could probably see, it was kind of innovative and especially tailored for the crosswinds of Kona. So when it comes to CDA itself, it was a little bit better on the 0-degree angle than the previous setups, but mainly on the crosswinds, it was totally different than any other setups I had. For example, changing the yaw angle to bigger angles was beneficial for my CDA. So it was getting lower and lower if the wind was stronger from the side directions. So that was like the big point for me coming into Kona. Yeah, when it comes to nutrition, we divided it into two parts. One was the race nutrition strategy, and the second one was day-to-day nutrition to elevate my training gains. So we experimented with a lot of things. We experimented with some high carb intakes, with some low carb days to improve my fat oxidation. I also added ketones to my daily supplements for a few periods. And a big factor for me was starting to work with 226ers company, which of course have a great quality, but also a wide variety of products that I can supplement on a daily basis. And I was working closely with their dietitian Marianna to find the best working solution for me. So not only using the good products, but also gaining experience, gaining knowledge, and also finding some strategies tailored for different conditions. So we put a lot of work in this department, especially after a race in Cozumel 2023. I found that this could help me a lot in Kona. I feel that 2024 was probably one of the biggest steps forward compared to the previous years. Even though I was totally lacking results, I felt, and all the data we gathered both in training and also in the wind tunnel and velodrome testing and everything, they were all in a good place. And comparing it, for example, with the data that we had before Nice, I was in a much better place at the end of 2024. Just taking the raw data into account, and also taking into account some not quantifiable data and of course feelings. I felt that I was in a really good place coming into races. I can use one word to describe the result, which is a disaster. So apart from one finished race in St. George, which was still nowhere near satisfying, I DNF'd all the other races. The St. George race, I finished in 10th place, and luckily I qualified for 70.3 Taupo just because there was a big roll down. So yeah, there were no results in 2024 for me, so probably the worst year in my whole career so far. So at the beginning of the year, I noticed some abnormalities in my heart rate during training. It was not happening so often, but in some trainings, I noticed a sudden peak in heart rate. For example, from 150 beats per minute, all of a sudden up to 210, 230, with no change in intensity and whatsoever. But it was not so often. So initially we thought it was caused by the heart rate monitor failure. But during the year, we swapped into some other brands, some different heart rate monitors. I used a lot of them actually throughout the season, and the issue was happening more and more often, and with even greater symptoms. So I was feeling a little dizzy. I was feeling like I could faint easily. Sometimes I could barely feel anything, and I could continue without really noticing it too much. But there were a few cases that I had to stop, put my head down for a while, and catch my breath. So it was happening more and more often. And actually, that was the first health issue that I experienced in my career so far. I was always lucky, and I was always protective, I would say, and have never had any longer periods without training because of the injury or whatsoever. Yeah, this time I could train. There was no real issue when it comes to logging the training we wanted, but I was experiencing like some weird things happening to my body. So yeah, it was getting worse and worse, and I was experiencing it and feeling it even more during races when the intensity is greater, and of course we cannot control the effort that easily. We just need to race, and so yeah, that's roughly what was stopping me to not only to train, because I could kind of normally function and train, but I was not meeting my expectations because of that, and not meeting the 100% intensities and the performances that I know I got in me. Real turning point was the Ironman Frankfurt race. Before Frankfurt, we were kind of unsure what was going on. We didn't really correlate the heart rate issues with my performances. I usually race without heart rate monitor, so we were thinking that it could be some other issues. But going into Frankfurt, I was in a good place. I was feeling fresh, recovered, and ready to go, and in a good mental space and everything. And during the swim leg, after about 3K into the race, where the pace was already settled, I was in the front group, and nothing's really was going on. And I started thinking about the T2 and making some plans for the latter periods of the race. And all of a sudden, I felt dizzy. I almost fainted, and probably I got scared a little bit because it happened in the water. So yeah, I had to stop, and yeah, I somewhat recovered after that, and finished the swim leg easily. Of course, I lost the front group, and I was just in front of the second group at the swim exit. On the uphill to the T2, I noticed my team on the side, so I just stopped and asked them, what should I do? And I described what happened. They said, okay, you don't continue, just unfortunately DNF. And after that, we actually decided to do some real diagnostics. I went to the doctors, and they told me that it's probably the paroxysmal arrhythmia, and it will probably require a small surgery. And they said that it's not really life-threatening, not serious in this matter. So the only risk is that it could happen during the race, during training, but it will not be life-threatening by any means. So I had the decision to make whether if I do the surgery quickly, or I go to prepare and race in Kona and deal with the issue afterwards. I got the green light from the doctors, but there was no time to deal with the issue properly before Kona. So I decided to give it a go and hopefully learn how to manage the issue, learn how to deal with it when it happens even better, so I can race normally in Kona. So that was what I did. Yeah, going for Kona, it was of course difficult mentally as well, because I knew that there's a risk with my health issues, but at the same time I was really deeply believing that I could handle it, that I could deal with it, and that it would not affect me. I was sure that it's gonna happen in a race, because it was happening so often during the training period that I was not expecting it to magically disappear during the race when the intensity is greater, the effort is greater, and the conditions in Kona are even more difficult. So I was kind of expecting it to happen, but during the training I was trying to learn how to deal with it when it's happening, how to manage it, and yeah, that was my approach, and I was deeply believing it. I was deeply believing that it would not affect me as much. Unfortunately, I was mistaken, and I couldn't handle it as well as I supposed to, as I wanted to actually. And the symptoms during the race were like too much to handle. So the race in Kona was unsuccessful, unfortunately. But still, I am happy that I tried and I gave it a go. And those are the experiences that probably create us as athletes and as human beings. So yeah, all in all, I find some positives in this situation. Yeah, so after Kona, I had already appointed some further diagnostics, and at the end of the year, I underwent surgery, which was successful. It was a little bit more complicated than anticipated at the beginning, but it was all good, and so far I am recovering from it, and I do not have any issues connected to it. Of course, there's always a risk, but thanks to the whole team in the hospital, and thanks to the doctors, they handled my issue perfectly. So yeah, another learning experience in my life, and I have never had any serious surgeries. So yeah, first time. So not to be so dramatic, I also had a great win. As you can see, I still have some skills. So if you want to beat me, try it yourself. I would like to say thank you to the whole team, to everyone in my corner during the year. It was not easy, but I think it is even more meaningful for us, and the support that I get means a lot, especially in these tough moments. And I would like to thank all my fans that were with me, and the amount of support during the tough moments and the amount of messages that you sent me are really encouraging, and I cannot thank you enough. And I would like to really thank you with my further results, which I feel that are closer and closer, and cheer for me in 2025. Thank you, Wilko.